Hello and welcome back to another episode from not the Studio Block server. That's right, we are still in the testing world, which you can see by the fact that we've got quarter of a chair here. So this is where we've been working on designing a bridge. We started work on this last week in Blender. We will be going back to Blender today, but the idea is we're building a bridge from here way off into the distance. So it's not really something I can easily do just designing it in Minecraft. If it was a straight bridge, great, I can design one section and copy it across. But we can go different, so let's go different. Now, what we're working on today is the actual look of the bridge. We did the shape last week, which has changed slightly. We'll talk about that when we get into Blender, but I have some block palettes. And we're going to build a mock bridge, just a little thing, to see how it looks. For our pillars and arches, granite, polished granite, bricks and terracotta. There are other blocks within the same hue, but I don't think they're going to work as well. Some of these we're going to need slabs and stairs for. Unfortunately, we can't have that with terracotta, so we're going to have to miss that with those. But we got these three to keep us covered. Then at the top of the bridge, we're going to have a little edge piece sticking out, which I'm thinking, nice and simple, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone. And then along the path of the bridge, we're going to have moss blocks along the side. And then we want this to be kind of a natural looking path. So we're going to have path blocks and then sprinkled in a few different types of plank. So hopefully this looks good. I really hope this looks good. Oh, by the way, the reason we're going for moss instead of grass, then we can hide lighting underneath with some moss carpet. Just makes things a lot easier. So I have set up a little macro for myself so that if I fill my inventory with these blocks, what it's going to do is scroll really quickly. So this is just going to be a nice easy way for me to randomize. I'm going to get a mock bridge built and we'll see how this looks. I think this looks pretty darn good. We have our path. I've added in some of the hidden lighting because why not? Obviously, this is all going to be much, much bigger. We're going to have a taller bridge. It's going to be wider. It's going to be quite a lot longer. But I'm happy with the block palette. I think the thing I'm least happy with, two things probably, the jungle planks and the terracotta, because currently we don't have any farms for those, but that's a future problem. We can deal with that later. For now, I need to figure out how to make this work in Blender, because I've never dealt with materials in Blender before. Let's see what I can do. Right, back in Blender. I made some changes to the bridge, so it more matches what we now have. We've got some side bits and they go up a little. That's all. They're also now in 3 separate pieces, but that's not a major change. But we're going to be adding materials, so let's start adding some materials. We need 3 different materials for this, and I'm kind of going to try to do this all in one go. I've got all the information I need next to me because I've actually already done the experimentation for this. It's been several hours since I recorded the last clip. So we need 3 materials. one for the pillars, one for the sides, and one for the path. Once we have all of those materials, we can go back to our geometry nodes and we can assign them. So we need step material, which we shall put into each of these slots. And one more down here. And then we need, this one is for the pillar. Obviously nothing's going to be changing at the moment because we've not done anything to the materials. That's for the sides. And then this one is for the path. So now we need to set up our materials, which means more nodes. And I want to start with the sides because that is the easiest one. So we've got all of this lovely information, which we're just going to completely remove, and it turns black, which is expected. That is completely fine. So for this bit, this is where we've got the cobblestone and the mossy cobblestone combining together. And I want patches of mossy cobblestone amongst the regular cobblestone. I don't want individual blocks. There might be individual blocks occasionally. So that seemed quite easy. What we need is a noise texture, which is going to create random noise. So if I put this in there, and we're going to want to scale this up a bit so it can actually be seen. I'm just going to use the values that I had previously. So you can see we've got a rough texture there. Obviously, it doesn't have the colours that we want, so let's add in those colours. So we're going to add in a colour ramp. So we can put this in there, and then I can assign some colours. Now I've already figured out what colours I need. So this is 807F80, it's just the hex code for the colour. And we'll deal with the position later. This one is going to be for our mossy cobble. So now we have a range from cobble to mossy cobble, but we don't want a range. First of all, we want it to be cobble a lot more. So we're going to set this to be 2/3 of the thing, but it's still going to give us that fade that we don't want. We want distinct colours. Obviously, we want distinct colours for everything. So we're then going to do some maths on our random number. We're going to do quite a lot of maths on our random number. We're going to do 3 things. So let's get 3 maths nodes in. So the first thing we're going to do, we're saying we want it to be 2/3 of the time cobblestone, the other third mossy cobble. So we're going to multiply the number by 3. So this is now going to give us a random number between 0 and 3. Then we're going to take the ceiling of that number. So that's going to give us an integer between 0 and 3. And then we're going to divide that by 3 again. And apart from, I think that's just another section pushing through. I'll have to look at the geometry nodes again afterwards. But you can now see it's mostly grey and we've got those patches of green. And then we can change the scale to sort out how often those patches appear. I'll be dealing with all of that stuff later when I'm looking at Block Blender. But that is the first texture done. Now we can move on to the pillars. Because they're the next most difficult, because the path is a real pain. So we bring up the pillars. Again, we can get rid of that. And this is going to be slightly different. This is one of those ones that I actually did need to do some research. Because we don't want regular noise, we want white noise. We want this to be just a random texture. So initially, it's going to be a very similar setup. So let's get that into place. Well, that's that bit done, but as you can see, we don't have a load of different colours. It's actually all the same colour. which is a problem. And this is where I need to do some research. The white noise texture is kind of a pain. So we need to add some other bits. First of all, we're going to need a seed value for this. Well, not first of all, it's the only thing we need. So we're going to get some texture coordinates. And then we're going to be doing some more math, but this time some vector math, just to add a bit more fun to proceedings. Oh, what are you doing all the way up there? Come back down. So we're going to take the generated value from the vector math. We're going to scale it. Where was scale? Ah, there it is. And again, I'm just going to use the values I used previously. It should give us hopefully the same thing. And then we're going to take the floor of that. And then once I put that in, it should now generate a nice random texture for us. That is the pillars done. Then the path is going to be quite a bit more difficult because we want the different wood textures. But then we also want the path which we want to be more of a connected thing. And we've got the moss on either side. First of all, let's get in the random wood textures because that is essentially what I just did. And there we have it, a nice wooden path. I don't really know why it's sticking through here. As again, I'll look at the geometry notes later. Something weird is going on. But that's all our wooden planks. We now need the path, which, as I said, I want that to be smoother. So for this one, we're going to be using a regular noise texture. And then we need to combine the two, which isn't as bad as it initially sounds. I'm going to set up the color ramp through to the noise texture, same as I've done previously, but we're not going to be adding any colors to the color ramp. That will be more obvious as I do it. Let's get that in. So at this point, that's not doing anything because we don't have it going into our output. So what we're going to do, we're going to add a thing called Mix Shader, which is going to go here, and we're going to combine this shader with just a color. So we're going to get, I think this is what I'm looking for. Yep. Let's move all of this up a little bit. So this is going to be our path color, which is going to go into there. So now it's just trying to combine them both 50-50. What we want is either all of one or all of the other. And that's where our color ramp comes into things. So we can put that in there. And now, it's difficult to tell because it is similar colors, but we have these longer splotches of this. In fact, for now, let's just make this a nice red so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see we have them both connected together. All is good. Let's get the path bit in, the actual moss blocks. Which, there's another thing that I had to do a bit of research into. So, if we come back here, so what we're doing is we want this to come in from the edge. I tried all sorts of things, could not figure it out. It turns out you need to do a bevel thing. I don't know why. I still don't really understand how this bit works. So we're going to do some more vector math on a dot product up here of a bevel, and I figured out for this shape we need to use the true normal. We're going to once again put that into a color ramp because we're looking for differences. So that's going to go into there, and we actually need to swap these around and set our white to I found about 0.8 works. So for now, if we just did this, so we have another shader mix. Just going to go into there. We put this in, and then we need to add in our green. So that's got a hex value of 596E2D. So we put that back in the bottom, and you can see we've got the green coming in from either side. I think I might just need to flip some faces over here, actually. That should be quite simple. Yeah, we've got the green coming in from the edge. I want it to mix in a bit, and again, we've got that fade that we don't want. So at this point, I just need to add some more noise texture, more maths. I have been at this for several hours now, and I have made no progress. I'm not getting anywhere with this. So, next week, we're going to approach this from a completely different angle. We're going to practice on another plan. I am not giving up. I do not give up this either. But we do need to come up with another plan. I have an idea in mind. But if you like what you saw today, different content, give the video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down in the comments. My name is Weird and Bearded, and I will see you all next time. We're going to finish this bridge. Hopefully. The geometry nodes are all fixed. Getting it to work with Block Blender is not going quite as well. So we're going to come back to this later on. But for now, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Weird and Bearded, and I will see you all next time.